Hello everyone, this is Colton with POSGuys.com, and today we're going to be taking a look at the new Honeywell Granit 1990i industrial barcode scanner, which I have here today. In particular, we're going to be taking a look at the extended range model of this, as opposed to the standard range model. They're both pretty similar in a lot of ways, so the information that I'm covering will be applicable to both. There's just a couple different changes and a couple differences in regards to the actual scanning range, and we'll test that out today, so you get a front row seat to that. To kind of give you an idea about how this scanner fits into the rest of Honeywell's catalog, this is probably a replacement to the 1980i or the 1910i industrial scanner. Of the two, it's probably closer to the 1910 than to the 1980. I'll kind of go into that real quick. It's super complicated, but essentially the 1980i is a full range scanner, which means that it can either scan things really far away or really close by, and it's going to be able to do those both about the same. That's in contrast to a scanner like the 1910i, which I have here, or this 1990i extended range, in that it's broken into two different models. So you either have a standard range model, which is a little closer, or an extended range model, which can do things really far away. And kind of the idea is that an extended range scanner is really optimized to scan really far away, but not so much with short range, and vice versa, as opposed to like the 1980, which is a full range, which can kind of do both well, but it's not going to be able to scan quite as far away. So comparing all of that, and with that all in mind, the 1990 that I'm looking at today is probably closer to the 1910, because this is broken into an extended range and a standard range model. So with that, I'll be comparing this 1990 to this 1910. Super complicated, I know, sorry to put you through that, but that's just kind of important to keep in mind when we're kind of comparing these, to make sure that we're comparing apples to apples. All right, so we'll start off this review here by taking a look at the really low-hanging fruit, and that's going to be the looks between the two different units. So here I have the 1990, here I have the 1910. Holding them up here, you're going to see that they're pretty darn similar. If you were looking at these from really far away, you might mistake one for the other. So in that regards, they're looking pretty good. Colors are a little bit different on them, but that's real low-hanging fruit. If you're using these, you probably don't care too much how it looks, but wanted to cover that. All right, transitioning here to the parts that really matter and what people really care about, and that's going to be scan performance. So we're going to be taking a look and comparing the new 1990 extended range to the old 1910 extended range, and seeing if they improve the scan engine between these two. I'm going to do that with a little setup I have here. I have a 100 mil barcode right here, code 39. According to the spec sheet for this scanner, it's supposed to be able to read this code from 33 feet away or 10 meters. And we're going to put that to the test here. I'll throw that up on the screen. The results of the long-range scanning test were a little mixed. With the really thin 100 mil code, we were able to get it to scan at about 15 feet, was about as far as we can get it to go, but it was pretty consistent and accurate within that range. Outside of that, we really weren't able to get it to register. We ended up swapping it out with a wider barcode that was a little larger, and with that code, we were able to get to about 25 feet, a little bit over, but never to that 33 feet that was advertised. So, definitely that's something to consider with that. Though, with that stated, it did perform better than the 1910 did in our previous test. So they did definitely make some upgrades to it. So you have to give Honeywell credit for that. Of course, no barcode scanner is good if it can't also scan short range to some degree. So I wanted to take a test out of that as well. I have a little linear code here, and I have a little QR code right here. And just first doing a shot with the 1990, give it a nice little click. Super responsive no matter how close. It's almost like it doesn't matter. QR code right here, going up. Oop. All right, and we compare that to the 1910. So, from my test there and from what I can see, on the linear code here, basically head and head, no big difference. But on this QR code here, I was finding that the 1990 was picking this code up a little bit quicker than the 1910. I was there was a little bit of a delay that I just wasn't seeing on the 1990. So in that regard, I got to give it to Honeywell. They have slightly upgraded the scan engine on a near range capacity, at least for QR codes. So with the scanning out of the way, I want to go and touch on the next most important part on an industrial scanner, and that is durability. Honeywell built the 1990 a little bit tougher than the 1910. They upgraded the maximum drop distance from 2 meters to 3 meters. So naturally, I decided to tempt fate and drop it off a pretty high ladder a few times, and even threw it against a wall for good measure. And afterwards, it worked well. It was a really good thing actually, because I had to give this back to Honeywell's afterwards. And if I had broken it, that would have been a very, very awkward conversation. But that's not the only abuse this scanner can take, because Honeywell also upgraded the water resistance on this unit as well. The 1910i could only handle low pressure jets kind of shooting at it from other directions, but Honeywell claims that the 1990i can be submerged in water for up to 30 minutes before failure. That's due to the fact that they gave it an IP67 rating. So naturally, I dunked it in a tank of water to test that claim. I didn't hold it on for the full 30 minutes, of course. I did have to give it back, so I didn't want to push it to its max and break it, but I did dunk it in the tank and hold it there for a little while, and then pulled it out, gave it a scan, and it seemed to hold up pretty well. So, you drop it in some water, you drop it in a pool for some reason, and you go and fish it out. You should be pretty good on that front. So with that today, this will wrap up the review on the 1990i. I put it through the gauntlet today, and it seemed to have held up pretty well. So, I am pretty impressed with the unit overall. But with that, this is going to wrap off the review here. If you have any other questions or you're looking to purchase this unit, feel free to visit our website, give us a call or an email. Both of those are on the screen now. Thank you all so much for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.